Hi, this tutorial is called Pooling Shot Projectiles. Basically, it's going to have a cube that's going to shoot forth little cubes. For the first step, we're going to add some objects to the scene, objects that we're going to need and use. I'm going to add a plane, and then I'm going to take this floor texture that I downloaded from the internet. It's a picture of a floor. Just drag and drop it onto the plane. Then I'm going to add the first cube, which is going to be the player. Right? And on the Z, I'm just going to push it back on the blue arrow. On the Z, you're going to push it back over here, right, to the edge. Now I'm at a second cube. This one's going to be the shot. And I want to take the size of it, so I press the scale icon. Click on this blue square in the middle because I just want everything to go smaller. And make it about that small. And I just leave it right there in the middle. The plane's kind of cutting into the cube in the shot. I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to move it down a little bit so that they don't intersect. All right, I just wanted the plane there to show the cubes better. One thing I want to add here, because we're doing pooling of shots, I'm going to add a game object. It's an empty object. It has no visual display in the scene. And I'm going to name this, shot pool. And then I'm going to drag the cube shot into the shot pool. All right, now I kind of have my things set up here. The cube player, let's start adding scripts here. So the cube player, I'm going to add a script that already exists here in my project. You guys could copy it when I show you the script. Cube player. All right, now let me explain this script here. Of course, we have a public variable move speed, which says how fast we're going to be moved left and right. Then there's the shot speed, which says how fast we're going to have our shots be able to fire off, meaning like rapid fire, so the smaller this number is, the more shots we'll be able to shoot off at a time. Then we're going to have X travel. That's the distance it could travel to the left and the right. And I came up with this number 5 here. I'm going to show you how I did it. With the cube player selected, I just want you to look up here at the position, okay? And the X is the red axis, so I'm going to click that, and I'm going to move it to here. Say that's as far as I want it to move on that side. See, it's about 4.8, so I just rounded off to 5. It's about 4.8 over here too, so I just rounded off to 5. So the limit to the left and the right that it can move in units, the X travel is 5, and that's how I got the number 5. So the script is there. I'll show you the script afterward. I just want to go now to the cube shot, and I want to add a script that exists already called cube shot. And this script has a move speed, the speed of the projectile, which I'm going to slow it down a little bit to 3 to start off with. Okay. And then this one has a Z travel. Z travel is the blue axis. And I'm saying that Z travel will go up to 5. So what did I say? I guess when the shot comes out, it's going to come out from here. And it will keep moving. And I'm saying I want it to disappear here by the edge. So what's the Z position? I could just look right here in the window. It's 5. And that's where I got the number 5 from. Okay, let's go to the player, because some of the things we're going to need to do the player to do is 1, shoot, and 2, move back and forth. So now let's look at the script. So I double click on cube player and it shows the script. So the script's kind of big. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to let you see it so you could type the code in. That's the first part with the start and update function. Then let me scroll it down to the second half where there's a function called do shoot. So you can see this and type it, just pause the video. All right, now let me go up to the top and let me explain. As we can see, we have our 3 public variables that you saw in the Unity inspector window. And then we're going to have an array of cube shots, and they're of cube shot type. So this is the cube shot. This is the cube shot type. This is one. There's one in here in the shot pool right now. And this is just going to hold a pointer to this shot pool and all the little cube shots inside it. Okay, so that's what this is for. Then this other variable, mark time, is going to keep track of the last time we fired off a shot so that we can't just, so we can control how fast we fire the shots off. So we have this variable called mark time for that. In the start function, I initialize mark time to whatever the current time is, and I initialize cube shots to the shot pool game object to the children of the shot pool game object. Okay, so this is GameObject.Find. This finds an object in the scene. So GameObject.Find shot pool will find this shot pool object here. Okay, the top level. Then get components and children that are cube shot. It will look for all the cube shots in shot pool. And right now we have one. And since there could be more than one, cube shots is an array, which you see right here. Right now there's one, so this array is going to have one cube shot. So in the start, we initialize the mark time and the cube shots. Now in the update function for the cube player, we're going to use the get button function from input. So it can get the button pressed from a joystick. And we're going to also use input get key down space so it can get the input from the space bar. And that'll do a shot. It'll actually fire a shot. We're going to call the fire a shot function there. And then this part of the code is just to move the cube back and forth. So we're going to use input get axis. Horizontal. Horizontal is going to be the joystick, left analog stick, left and right, or it's the A and D keys from the keyboard, or the left and right keys from the keyboard. And how fast we move left and right, that's the move speed from the inspector window. Then we just make sure that we don't move past the X travel limits. So if I'm moving, in the positive direction on the X-axis, I make sure I don't go past 5. And if I'm moving in the negative direction, I make sure I don't go past -5. So it's between 5 and 5. Then if those conditions are met, then I actually move the cube to the position. All right, up here, when we press the fire button, it calls do shoot. So this is the do shoot function. And the first thing we have to do is we have to find a shot that we could actually shoot. And what that means is that we're pooling the shots, right? So right now the shot pool has one shot in it. If the shot is already firing and it's like moving across a screen, I don't want to fire it again. I don't want to have it come back here and shoot out again. So if the shot is firing, it's going to be in a state where it's active. And then once the shot comes to the end of the screen and then it disappears, we're going to put it kind of like in this little pool in a bank. It's not visible. It's a pool of shots that are available to shoot again. So here in the do shoot function, first I'm going to check to make sure that you're not firing too fast. You can't press fire, fire, fire faster than the shoot speed. If that condition is met, then we're going to go in here. We're going to go in here and look for a shot that we could fire with this for loop. And basically we're going to get we're going to loop through all the cube shots in the array. And for the current cube shot in the array, we're going to get the cube shot script. So the reason I type in cube shot here is because that's the name of the script file. It's cube shot. So it gives me a pointer to the script. And then now once I have the pointer to that script, I could see if I could call a function from that script called set active. And if it's able to be set active, it returns true. I found it, break out of this loop, and if I didn't find it, then play a little click sound like an empty gunshot. That's the cube player script. That's explaining that. Now for the cube shot script, this one, here we go. We double click on cube shot. The shot again is going to have two states. One state where it's flying across the screen, and another state where it's waiting to be shot and it's not visible. So instead of using numbers, I used an enum so it's easier to read. There's a state of being pooled where it's in the shot pool waiting to be shot, and a state of active where it's actually shooting. These are the two public variables that show in the Unity inspector: the speed of the shot and the Z travel range of the shot. And the number here is just a default. That's why 10 showed up and I had to change it to 3. Then we're going to keep track of the state. These variables are private for use within this script file. And we're going to have a pointer to the player. The reason we have a pointer to the player is because when we shoot off the shot, we want it to come out of the player. So we're going to have to know where the player is. So let's keep a pointer to the player. So in the start function, when this script loads up, we're going to get a pointer to the player. So from the scene, we're going to find the cube player object. That's this right here. It's going to find it, and it's going to store a pointer to it so we could reference it. Now in the update function for a shot, this is happening every time the frame updates, 60 times a second, you could say. Based on what the state is currently, we're going to do something. So if the state is pooled and the shot's not firing, it's just waiting to be fired, they don't do anything. They just break. If the state is active, okay, I want the shot to keep moving forward. It's going to just move forward. So transform, translate, and on the z-axis, just keep moving down the z-axis at whatever the move speed is. Times time delta time. Ooh, somebody forgot to put that. And as it's moving down the z-axis, if it moves past the z travel limit, then take the shot and put it back to being pooled. No more shot moving. Okay, that's the update function. So let's see, in this update function, we called a function called setPooled. This is to set our shot to the pooled state. Basically, we say state equals pooled, and then we get the renderer of the cube shot object and we turn it off. The renderer of the cube shot object, that would be the mesh renderer here. Now you see the shot in the scene. If I turn off the renderer, the shot isn't drawn anymore. Drawn, not drawn. So that's what turning off the renderer does. It's not going to be drawn in the scene anymore. It's pooled. You don't want to see it on the screen. Then another thing up here, this is a public function because it's being called from somewhere outside of the script. Set active. We're going to take this shot out of the pool and make it fire down the screen. So set active is going to, first, I can't set an active if it's already active. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to check to make sure that the state of this cube shot object is pooled. Then I'm going to change it to active. And right here, I get the position set for the shot. Transform position equals new, blah, 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 blah. I'm setting it to the position of the player, as you can see, because all these positions are player transform. So I set the position of the shot to the player, and I set the rotation of the shot, like which way the shot's facing, to the same direction as the player. And then over here, I turn the renderer back on, so it shows on the screen, and I play a little shot sound. And I return true because, we were able to set it active. So you kind of put that together here. It's a little reference back to over here in the player object. When we press shoot, here's the fire button. It says do shoot. And do shoot gets the script of the cube shot and says set active. Right here, when it calls set active, it's calling this set active. And here it returns true if it actually was able to do it or not. That is why I see if it equals true. And if it went through the loop and it couldn't do it, it couldn't find any shot to fire, that's where it makes the click sound. All right, so I make sure I save my scripts. I go back to Unity. I know that was a lot to digest, but when you play around with it, you'll see what the numbers do and what they mean. There's something I didn't add yet. There was some sounds, right? So here in my cube player object, I didn't add any sound for it to play. So I'm going to add component audio source. And this is the player. It needs a click sound in case it couldn't fire. So I got a click sound from the internet from freesound.org. And I'm just going to drag and drop that right there. And I turn off play on awake. I only want it to play when I say to in the script. So that's the player. And for cube shot, it also needs a sound. So I'm going to add an audio component. And I downloaded a shot sound from freesound.org. Select cube shot and drag and drop shot onto this. That's the shot sound. And don't play unless I tell it to. Don't play on awake, please. So boom, boom. And let me just press play and see what happens. Well, one thing I forgot to do. Why do I always forget to do this? I got to set the camera angle to the same as the scene. So select main camera, game object, align with view. There, camera angle matches. Now let's see what's happening. We got one shot in the pool. I can only shoot one shot at a time. So play. There goes a shot. It's moving forward. And then it ends. Then I can shoot it again. Then you get the click sound every time I try to shoot it when it's still shooting. All right, so just one thing, we want to shoot down, so I just want to hold the Alt key and the left mouse button. I want to turn this scene around, all right? So I'm shooting down is the axis. It feels like I'm shooting away. And the other thing is I want to add some more shots to the pool instead of just being able to shoot one shot. So I could just easily duplicate in here as many shots as I want to have in the pool. Now there's 3 shots in there. Now let's see what happens. Stop, align the camera, align with view, press play. Okay, I'm using the joystick, moving left and right, or the keyboard. Then I press. Shots are moving kind of slow for me, huh? So that's easy. Stop. Well, now this is a dilemma. So what we did is we have one cube shot object here, then another one here, and another one here. So what I'm going to do, let me just take these 2 away, delete. I'm going to take this cube shot and I'm going to turn it into a prefab. So I drag and drop it into the project window. So what happens then is that here, if I select this and modify anything here, I'm just changing this instance of the cube shot object. But with the prefab, if I select the prefab and I change any settings here, then that changes all the cube shots in the whole scene. So I had move speed at 3. I'm gonna make it to 10. I'm gonna make it move faster. And you're gonna see that this one now will update and it'll move faster. When I press play, there, it moves faster. Good. Now I can just take this prefab and drag it into the shot pool. Now I got 2 of them. Now I got 3 of them again. Okay. Press play. So one thing I don't like is that there's this one shot that's here in the beginning. So basically I should make the default state of the cube shot to not have the renderer on so it doesn't draw. Now when I press play, there won't be any cubes there until I press shoot. And there you go. We basically have a cube shooting projectiles from a pool.